Okay. It is 9:01 p.m. and of course I'm supposed to be in bed, but before I do that, I want to make sure I have my macro set for tomorrow. It's actually the same day as the last video you saw, but I figured this would be a good teaching moment to show you guys how I prep my macros for the next day. So as I've said before, I believe the day starts the night before, so more often than not, I am planning out my macros the night before I actually consume them. So that way when I wake up, I just execute. And yes, some things change day to day. I might not have that ingredient. I might choose this ingredient instead. I might choose to have chicken instead of beef so I can have more fat later. Stuff like that happens. But generally speaking, I set it and forget it. Tomorrow is a tricky day because I got some family in town and we're gonna go to Disney in the afternoon. So one of the things that I make sure I do is I always have, I'm here in the First Form app, which is the app that I use to track all my calories. And it's also where I communicate with my nutritionist. I don't know if he's a nutritionist or like a performance dietitian. I think that's what he is, a performance dietitian. So I do all of that within the First Form app. I start off my day pretty much the same way. I do old-fashioned oats with a scoop of protein and some Fairlife milk in there. That gives me 37 grams of protein and 45 grams of carbs to fuel me for my jiu-jitsu session at 6 a.m. Then when I come home, I am trying to get away from the protein slop, meaning protein cereals, protein bars, all that other bullshit. I do have a lot of it in stock, so I'm really just like eating it more than I normally would so that I can not have it in the house anymore. And then I'll have to get creative on ways to fill up my protein. But also because we're gonna be out and about tomorrow, I don't wanna be tempted to eat theme park food. So I'm gonna have to have more than a few servings of whey protein tomorrow. So we're gonna have that protein cereal because we're trying to get rid of that. We got probably a day or two of that left and then we're gonna stop eating it for good. We're gonna have some chicken breast. I'm working on the amount right now. Right now I have a pound in there for what we're gonna consume and I have no problem taking down a pound of meat. Wow, I do that every single day pretty much. I have a pound of ground beef. It's easy for me to consume that much. And then here we have 2 protein bars and a sleeve of rice cakes. That's gonna be at the park. We gotta fill out the rest. So we're gonna have 42 grams of carbs and 28 grams of fat. It's gonna take me too long to do all the math and figure it out. It literally takes me probably 30 to 45 minutes of just messing around with the numbers to make sure that they are exactly right. Some days it takes me 5 minutes, other days it takes me way longer than that. So I'm not gonna sit here and do that with you. I just wanna show you that that is what I do prior to the day. So you know I'm not bullshitting. All right, it is 5:35 in the morning. I am leaving for jiu-jitsu and dude, I slept like shit. That's always fun, that's always cool, we love that. I just have this problem where my body does not get tired before 11 p.m. And I really don't understand it because, you know, I get up at 5 a.m., I train twice a day, I have 2 kids under 2, I work every hour that I'm awake. One would think that these are the perfect conditions to be fucking exhausted at the end of the day. And in some ways I am. In some ways I am very mentally drained. I am very physically drained. But whatever it is that says I need to go to sleep right now, I don't get it until 11 o'clock at night, which would be fine if I wasn't getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning every single day. You know, I used to just embrace that. I used to just say, you know what, maybe I'm just a night owl. Maybe it just is what it is. And I would go to bed at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and get up at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. And that's just what it was. I didn't really argue with it. I didn't wrestle with it. I just said, you know what, maybe this is just the way that I'm built. And then of course, jiu-jitsu came into my life. And I said, man, the only time that I can consistently make is 6 o'clock in the morning. You know, all the rest of the times are tough. When you have 2 kids, 6:30 p.m. is pretty tough because you got bedtime for the kids. You don't want your wife doing that completely by herself. That'd be pretty douchey. So the optimal time is when they're asleep. And that's what I've been going. But of course, the other half of that has struggled immensely. The going to bed part. And so for the last year and change, I've just been getting 5.5, 6 hours of sleep, and it's clearly not sufficient. So if you have any sleep hacks or special methods you do to fall asleep fast and get your body tired, ready to shut down for the evening, I'm more than happy to hear them. I put an Instagram story out, and I haven't read all of them yet, but I'm hoping that at least one of those things helps me. Truth be told, I don't exactly set the right conditions leading up to the moment I have to go to bed, because I pretty much go from putting the kids in bed to trying to go to bed myself, which you basically go from chaos and stress and children screaming to nighty-night, which isn't exactly an easy transition. That is not as good as First Form energy. Yeah, so that was extremely frustrating. I don't know if it was just because I've only done gi this week. I don't know what it is, but the shoulder definitely is pissed off today. I found myself not even thinking about the rolls and just thinking about protecting my shoulder. I didn't do any drilling this morning because they were drilling takedowns, and I don't really want to be taken down right now because that's exactly how I injured my shoulder. I'm so fucking over this shoulder injury. It is so aggravating. And like everyone tells me, take time off, give it a break. It's like, I can't, because I can't afford to lose momentum. I can't afford to take time off from the gym, take time off from training, and go back in 2 or 3 weeks and feel like I have to start all over again, to feel like I have to build up everything that I've built up over the past year all over again. I've been there before. I've done it 1,000 times. I build up so much momentum, and then something gets in the way. Something stops me from continuing to go. Whether it's a vacation, whether it's getting sick, something gets in the way. And if I don't want to lose everything that I've built over the past year, I have to force myself through that. I have to force myself to get up when I'm tired. I have to force myself to go when I'm in pain. I have to force myself to do these things when I don't feel like it, when it's unreasonable to do them. Because if I lose momentum, if I lose the routine, if I lose the progress, then it's 100 times harder to do it all over again. Because not only are you having to build the strength back up, build the cardio back up, build the timing back up, but mentally you're demoralized because you've put in all this work, you put in all this time, and then even just 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off, you go back and you're like, I feel like I'm starting over. I feel like I haven't done this before. And that is just not worth it to me. So I show up when I'm in pain. I show up when I'm injured. I show up when I'm tired and don't feel like it. I show up when I've gotten 4 hours of sleep, because the momentum matters to me more than whatever bullshit I'm dealing with. But that doesn't make the bullshit not frustrating. That doesn't make this injury not frustrating. But I have to live in reality as well. I can't train the way that I've been training under the current conditions. I do have a separated shoulder. I can't fucking go 100%. I can't train every single day. That I have to accept, but I don't have to accept taking 2 or 3 weeks off. I can accept scaling my training back a little bit. I can accept only doing these classes, but not these classes. I can accept not drilling certain things, not doing certain motions. I can accept telling my training partners, hey, I want to do this, I can't do this. But what I will not accept under any circumstances is losing momentum. I won't do it. I would rather deal with this shoulder bugging me for the next 3 months than to take 3 weeks off and have to start over completely. Because the chances that 3 weeks turns into 3 months is extremely high. And I know that because I've done it so many times. It's just a week vacation. It's just a weekend. It's just 2 weeks off. I'm just busy with work. It's never just those things. When you allow those things to stop your momentum, they become a much bigger problem than just what they are at face value. Because that weekend turns into a week, turns into 2 weeks, turns into 6 months, and now you're a completely different person.
You're someone you don't want to be anymore. And it takes doing that 3, 4, 5, 6, a dozen times before you're like, shit, maybe it's not just a weekend. Maybe those days off, those weekends off, that vacation I want to take, maybe those aren't as inconsequential as everybody tells you they are. What's one day? What's one bite? What's one weekend? You've been training for this long. Why not just take a week off? These people don't understand momentum. They don't understand the power of showing up every single day because they've never shown up for anything their entire life. They've never done anything consistently except stuff their face and watch Netflix and sit on the couch and bitch about their life. There is such immense power in doing something difficult day after day after day after day because the difficult becomes easy. And that is something that can only be preserved when you continue to show up to do the hard thing. It only remains easy as long as you keep going. And so the moment you stop, it becomes hard again, just like it was on day one. So people who have that kind of momentum and understand the power of that momentum and have lost that momentum in the past know that it's not worth losing. It is worth pushing through all the bullshit, canceling whatever you have to cancel, dealing with whatever pain you have to deal with to keep the momentum going, to keep the difficult easy. And so that is why I won't take time off. That is why I'm going to continue to show up, even if I have to do it twice a week, 3 times a week, instead of the 7 times a week that I'm used to. It's really 9 times a week if I'm being honest, because I train twice a day on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I digress. See you at home.